Building a habit of reading is about so much more than just reading as many books as you possibly can. You've all seen the aesthetic bookish hauls. You've all seen the what I read in a year posts, and they're like 100+ books long. But has all of that reading actually changed anything for you? Or are you just speeding through books to hit your Goodreads goal? I want you to know that reading does not have to be about quantity. It can be about the value that reading adds to our lives. A reading habit can shape your critical thinking, expand your worldview, give you greater emotional intelligence, and a bigger vocabulary. But how do you cultivate a reading habit like this when you are extremely busy and have barely any time throughout the day? That's what I'm going to teach you in this video. We're going to talk about realistic reading habits and what has helped me maintain my reading and go deeper with my reading, even though I have an extremely busy life right now. And we're going to do it all with the focus of enjoying the journey and getting the most value out of everything we read. Okay, let's get started. And you're gonna have to change the way that you're reading. Your subconscious is going to realize that this is something that's important to you. If you want to be a more consistent reader and get more value from your reading, then you're gonna have to change the way that you're reading. And that's gonna be hard to do because we've been conditioned to overconsume in every single area of our life right now. Even reading has become a measure of the amount that you can get rather than the quality that you can get. If you're just worried about reading a bunch or reading whatever's new or whatever people are talking about right now, then you're gonna get so overwhelmed, or you're gonna start reading books that don't add anything to your life, and then you're gonna stop because it's not worth your time. So I think that if you're trying to build a good habit of reading, you need to stop worrying about how much you're reading and start worrying about the value of the reading that you're getting. And this is coming from someone who's been a reader consistently since the day I could actually read. Like, as far back as I can remember, I have been reading. And now, as I'm a new mom and I have a full-time job and I'm working on a lot of side projects, I'm still able to consistently be reading because of these habits. I also want to emphasize the fact that a reading habit can increase your emotional intelligence, your conversational skills, your vocabulary. There's so many benefits to having a good, solid reading habit. Whatever your reason is for wanting to be a better reader, that is super valid because it's going to add so much value to your life, no matter what types of books you enjoy or why you enjoy reading. So here are ways to build healthy habits around reading in order to stay consistent and get the most value out of it. Habit number one for actually creating a good, valuable reading habit in your life is to stop reading like it's a race. Every video that you see on the internet right now about books is probably going to be my 50+ book haul from Barnes & Noble, or the 500 books that I read last year, or the 50 books that I read this month. It's all going to have this massive number attached to it, and you're going to feel like you're going to have to live up to that standard, even though you absolutely do not. This is people's careers, is creating these lifestyles around reading, and that is great for them because that is their full-time job. You do not have to feel the pressure to read the amount that these people are reading. Absolutely no hate to those creators. I literally love them. I'm just saying I don't want you to feel like that needs to be your standard. And like I said before, overconsumption is not a good thing. What matters is that you are reading something that you enjoy and are getting value out of it. And oftentimes reading 5 pages a day is going to be way better for you than sitting and watching TV for an hour. 5 pages might not feel like a lot, but it's going to be so worth it in the end. You just have to find ways to make reading so easy. I have the Kindle app on my phone, and I try to keep Instagram and other social medias off of my phone unless I'm like actively posting things, just so that the Kindle app is one that I can go to more easily without having all these distractions around it. I also make sure to keep a book on my nightstand that's maybe a little bit harder for me to read, like needs a little bit more of my focus, but not so much of my focus that I need to be awake and alert for it. For example, right now I'm reading The Nightingale on my nightstand, and then I keep my Kindle in my son's nursery so that I can read on my Kindle. I'm reading Six of Crows on my Kindle right now, and I can just read a couple pages while he's like asleep if we're doing a contact nap or something like that. habit that is actually going to make you engaged with your reading and make you want to keep reading is actually interacting with it. And this may feel counterintuitive because you're like, okay, if I'm putting in more work to interact with my reading, then what if I just don't feel like it? I think you're actually gonna feel more like it because you come to your reading with a objective. You're not just reading it. If you say, keep a pen in your book as a bookmark instead of just like a piece of scrap paper, you'll have an easier time picking up that pen, underlining things that stood out to you, making doodles. Like, it does not have to be the perfect annotations, but if you have something to mark up your book, you're just gonna enjoy that book so much more because your subconscious is going to realize that this is something that's important to you because you're interacting with it more rather than just skimming through the page. So the last tip that I have is to pick books with intention. And I want you to keep in mind that the intention can be to have a good time. Last month, I read 2 Abby Jimenez books because there were just a lot of things going on in my life. I need something a little bit more escapist and just fun. And having fun while reading is 100% a valuable and amazing goal. But the reason that I say that you should pick books with intention is because just because something's trending doesn't mean that it's going to serve you in your life, in the place that you're at, in your mental state. But like for me, I used to just see something was trending, like a romance novel, and I would read it right away because I thought, you know, I had to be a part of this larger conversation in the bookish community that oftentimes derailed me from my goals, which is to become a more thoughtful and present human, which can sometimes include fun little romance novels, but I don't have time anymore for just throwaway reading unless it's going to help add value. But I just want you, as you're choosing your reading, to stop and think for a moment before you choose your next book. Like, even though something might seem interesting to you, it might seem fun, take an extra second to think, is there something that could be slightly more valuable to me in this time of my life? Because just because something's popular does not mean that it's good, well written, or interesting even. And it also doesn't mean that it is going to be a valuable read for you. Okay, now to finish out this video, I just want to give you a couple of quick options that I think might be great starter novels to keep on your bedside table. These are books that are not going to scare you or keep your pulse up so you're not able to go to bed after you read them, but they're going to be something that you might want to take a pen to and underline a couple pages. The first one is Emily Wilde's Encyclopedia of Fairies. This is by Heather Fawcett, and I chose this one because it's a little bit slower paced, so it's not going to keep you up on a cliffhanger every single night. The language and the storytelling of this book is just so beautiful. It's so well written. The author does such a great job with the slow burn romance where it feels sweet and tender, but it also feels like it's blossoming at a reasonable pace for the types of characters that are leading the story. I love that there's magical elements to it, but it's not so in your face that you're feeling stressed out by all the crazy things happening because of the magic. So I think it's a great bedtime story. The next one is The 10,000 Doors of January, which is by Alex E. Harrow. And I'm choosing this one because similarly to the Encyclopedia of Fairies, the narration, the cobbling together of language that Alex E. Harrow uses in this book are just so beautiful. And this book is really for the lover of stories because the main character is finding this book that cobbles together all these stories, and she finds these doors to different worlds, and it's just like an exploration of her past as well. It's just a beautiful, beautiful novel. Very literary and whimsical. The magic in it isn't so in your face, but it's there. It's like a pulse leading the story on, which is really, really just a great experience to read. If you're a believer and you enjoy reading theological books or Christian nonfiction, before bed is a fantastic time to get into Puritan literature. There are so many wonderful books that you can read from the Puritans that are easy to read. The language is older English, but it's not difficult to get through. Things like The Art of Divine Contentment or The Bruised Reed are just wonderful bedtime reads. Books like Gentle and Lowly by Dane Ortland, or his new book Deeper is a fantastic book to read before bed, just really encouraging and leaves you feeling lighthearted. And if you're trying to get into classics, before bed is a great time to read classics. Depending on how tired you are, you might not be able to get through them, but things like 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea or The Picture of Dorian Gray. The Death of Ivan Ilyich is a quick read. It's pretty short. It's by Leo Tolstoy, and that's a great before bed read because, you know, it might help you fall asleep, but you might actually get some good gold nuggets from it. So before bed is a great time to tackle your to-be-read classics list. These are just some habits that I've tried to implement to help me maintain my reading and continue being consistent in especially very busy seasons like this season is currently for me. So if you have any suggestions or ways that help you while you're reading, please leave them in the comments below because I would love to learn more about you and about your reading habits. I just think it's so fun to hear comments about what you're reading or your thoughts on the books that you're reading. So I want to know more about your reading habits and maybe they can help me too. Thanks again so much for watching this video. I would love it if you could like and subscribe. This is a relatively new channel and I'm just hoping to get to know more of you guys. And when you do things like interact with the video, it just helps me out so much because it brings it to more people. And the most encouraging thing to me is seeing comments and getting to respond back. And we just get to enjoy this love of story together. And that is like such a beautiful thing. So thank you again for being here and I hope to see you next time.